Oh,
Right there.
I do recall it being mentioned 4 or 5 times. I don't know if it was on my list.
We can look at some, we got it on YouTube.
We're in the minutes, yeah. We'll look at the minutes.
I heard it.
Wayne.
I kinda like having the fish pond out front of my driveway though.
Yeah.
My house gate's too clean, cause when cars go by, they splash it.
Oh,
I just jump into the hole and I'm looking around.
Mommy
like this.
Drive was the
Like
beloved
going
road I
farming.
grew up on. It's getting taken. It said Mommy
You're
Drive
live.
was the beloved road I grew up on.
I just keep calling for pothole.com.
What'd you say, it's like 65 miles an hour they go down?
Oh, at
If you go
least.
65, you don't feel near the bumps.
What they do, they free ride, they go, they hit it, they go.
Oh my God. They don't hit my torch, but they hit his.
They do. Cars go by in the water.
I know they do.
flies by.
There was a
Right
car in
Yeah.
front of me and I thought, slow down and I thought, oh my gosh, they hit Steve's porch. Yeah, no.
I'll bet mine will be
He didn't
8
tell
inches
me.
deep and it'll be.
I didn't know what it was for.
Because we never get it here some night.
Every time it
We'll
goes.
bring it to you.
Didn't matter if I was
So you're
driving
coming
on
to
time or not.
Tuesday.
I'm coming to you.
What did you do to my car?
Isn't
Well,
there
I've been
something
in
in
it.
there?
That's all.
I didn't know like we
You
can
can
still
still
calling those
still
potholes,
come.
the same stuff in there.
It's
Back
9 in
in
the
the day,
morning.
You can have my
Back
breakfast.
off me, that was right around
It's
the place.
tax season and the girls
Why wouldn't that do? Wouldn't that make more
Hi,
sense?
Kim.
Yeah, only
Because I
5 or
gotta
6
call
days
all the
left.
time. Potholes still
It was
open.
rain.
It's down to the water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I need
the one in
Yeah,
Arabella,
can you
I think they filled that, the
Suppose I
one in
better
Arabella,
start
at
getting
least
my stuff
every
around.
week. I
Right,
see 'em down
about
there.
30 seconds.
It's been on me.
It's pretty bad.
Yes, it is.
I don't see Mr. Hilbert.
There's slight tan
I'm sure they probably felt
on
that.
that.
I want you to notice that my winter coat on my vest.
I see you put your wreath back up in the house.
Winter's coming.
Right. 10, 9, 8, 3. Good evening and welcome to the Defiance City Council meeting for this evening, April 4th, 2023. Before we get underway, the local pastor Ben Polson from Poplar Ridge Church of the Brethren on Domersville Road is here to open us up in prayer this evening. Pastor Polson, thanks for being our guest this evening.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for this opportunity. Would you pray with me? Father, as we're in the middle of Holy Week, when we recognize especially what you did all those years ago, sending your son and the sacrifice he made and his resurrection, that we might have new life in him. Oh, Lord, help us to live that out each day. I'm so thankful to live in a community where the elected officials, Lord, invite the pastors to pray for them, where they want your guidance, they want your wisdom. So I pray your blessings on each of them, Lord. Thank you for these men and women who serve. Give them wisdom, give them guidance, bless them and their families, and show them the way. Thank you for this community. Please have your hand of blessing upon it, that we might glorify your name. We love you, Father. Through Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you for having me.
This meeting is now called to order. Let the record show that all members of council are present this evening. Would you stand with me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've reviewed the index minutes for the council meeting of March 28th. Do we have a motion to correct or amend the index minutes? With no such motion, I will approve the same. Do we have a liaison meeting request or report? Without any, do we have any comments from council tonight? Mr. Corbett.
Yeah, I'm getting an email or question from one of my neighbors on Derbyshire. Concerned there hasn't been much activity out there, just looking for an update, and has also heard that the project's been put on hold, so I'm hoping you can update. I knew it wasn't, but I thought I'd get it right from you here. Thank you.
I can't give you any update other than that, Mr. Mack.
The project will be bid, it's not on hold.
Right.
We have a lot of projects going on this summer. It's one of many that we will send bid documents out for and get taken care of. So it's not on hold, but I can get you a closer date to when we
That'd be
plan to
great.
bid.
We expect it to be done before the next snowfall, next winter, not
That could be
tomorrow.
next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Waxler.
I've had several phone calls since last Friday night with people with concerns of not being able to hear the tornado sirens. A lot of people, the east side, especially down in Washington, Riverside, that area. Of course, I lived in Wayne, I didn't hear them, but I'm not the best at hearing, we all know that. I got selective hearing is what I have. No, but I'm just saying that, I don't know what to tell them, I mean.
I think the best thing, Mr. Waxler, would be to either note the address and either send it to Mr. Mack or directly to Chief Wilkins. And we'll see if we can pinpoint some areas that people can't hear. I will tell you that I suppose like you, if I have my TV up maybe a little bit louder than what I should, I may not hear it either.
The other thing, can I?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So obviously we know that there's weather on the way tomorrow.
Right, and that was one of
The
the
thing that
concerns.
continues to be pushed out from NOAA, and the National Weather Services, encouraging people not to rely on one form of notification. If your only form of notification is those sirens, they urge you to, there's several federal government apps that track weather. You can we have the storm radio in my office, anything like that. The National Weather Service, like I said, it urges people don't rely necessarily just on the.
I know
tornado
some said their
sirens.
phones went off and others said they heard nothing, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, I don't know I didn't know for someone we do in that area. I mean, it seemed like it was more Riverside, Washington.
Yeah, if you, as the mayor said, if you wanted to give me those addresses of those areas, then I can take a look in those parts of town.
We did hear it.
You heard it?
Yeah.
So did I.
I also have some concerns about the sirens as well, and I will be glad to send you some addresses.
Okay.
Did you hear it?
No,
You couldn't hear it?
no.
No?
The funny thing is, I just took a 2-hour class for storm chasers and I slept right through it, so. Didn't get the notification.
It woke me up. I mean, it woke us both up.
Yeah, woke me up too.
Yeah. Maybe it just depends how your house is turned and where
And
you're,
also
you
be
know.
probably, yep, and it could also be possibly the direction of the wind too.
Yeah.
The wind changes.
I just wanted to bring it up because they.
No.
No,
I
it's a
didn't
good
know
point.
what to tell them.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of times when you're looking at it, that something, we've got a dance warning now that something's gonna take place, that we can set up whatever it is, prior information, whether it's our, volume up on our phones or something like that, but, it's usually something that people rely on for notifications.
Is it, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Hancock.
Is it feasible that we could possibly do it? I know we have alert apps on our website, for notifications.
Specifically for like when the sirens go off,
Possibly.
that would have to get coordinated. It depends on the time of day. We plan to push some weather information out tomorrow as it's available. But if you're hearing a tornado siren, it means you need to get into shelter. So likely, we wouldn't necessarily have a staff member at a computer at the moment trying to get that stuff taken care of. But the 911, sheriff's office, police department, city, we will be pushing out information,
I think
as
the
it's
biggest
available.
concern is for these people was that the ones that didn't hear was, if we assumed if we had our house closed up, which you do in the winter anyway, and the furnace on or whatever, you would, or in the summer, if you got your air on your house closed up,
Yeah, I mean, I all great comments, but I think the best comment came from Mr. Mack, where you can't rely on any one source for that sort of information. The weather was threatening, I was getting alerts from my weather apps that I have. I actually get alerts from Paulding, which since it's west of here, southwest, I get those as well. And I think people just have to be somewhat diligent on their own. And again, if you're watching Netflix or Prime or anything, you're just
Right.
not gonna get those weather notifications.
Right.
That's a time where you need to turn to the local networks out of Fort Wayne, Toledo, Lima, whatever your preference is.
Mr. Mast?
I just wanted to remind people too, and this goes along with this conversation, is that I've noticed some people saying they haven't been getting their text alerts and things, and it's just from the GoGov and the Nixle, and I just want to remind people that we're not using that anymore, so they need to go on the website and get signed up to get the proper alerts on the City of Defiance website. So that's one thing
Very
that I've
good.
noticed people struggling. They were asking where they can get their alerts from, so.
Good
Maybe Todd can put that in the paper again tomorrow, so.
He's diligently writing
Maybe
after
after
this.
Taking notes now.
Mr. Esty?
It's a nice pamphlet that the, Humane Society has out describing the TNR. Were you gonna discuss any of this at all?
I was, but, and
No,
we can,
okay. Anyways, the only thing I looked at was, the need for volunteers. If there was a way on our information that we were able to reach out, because how many do we have that you were able to reach out on the information?
On the new website, I'm not sure the total number we
Okay,
have signed
well,
up at this
I-
point,
we've
but
got
it's a
probably quite a few,
significant
'cause
amount
I
of
get
people
them.
signed up, yes.
And be nice to be able to get something like this, maybe just to bring it to somebody's attention that we're in need of volunteers coming up to this very important needed information or program for our community.
so that's really what I was gonna remind everybody, Mr. Uresti, the importance of getting signed up, in all honesty, having a central registration point, and that is the Humane Society, and the phone number is in that brochure. I'll repeat it now, 419-658-2298. Lisa's been pleased with the amount of volunteers, but you never have enough volunteers. So that's what's gonna make this program successful.
Is she gonna be here next week? I think we'd asked her to come back one more time.
Okay, I will, we'll reach out to her tomorrow.
And then there are probably some questions to ask, and I think the important thing was that we have 90 cages
Correct.
for the community. If they're not all needed, that if there's somebody from the community that wants their pet taken care of, that we have the possibility that be the time to do it.
Yes,
Because a lot of people have inside, outside cats.
Yep.
And
so that pickup time, Mr. Uresti, which is not in the, it's the only thing that's not in the brochure, the amended brochure will have it in there, is from 10 to 1 at the Office Max complex. It's a great location, I don't think I can put enough emphasis on how appreciative we are of Zach Isaac and the family for allowing us to use that lot and building to help facilitate all of this. It's a perfect location. Everybody knows, I think, where the Office Max location is.
I don't think you need to go on Spruce Street anymore since they tore all that fence down in that building. I don't see any cats out there anymore.
Okay, so,
thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? On my desk, if you'll remember last time we met, I read a liquor permit request form that was sent. The Ohio Department of Commerce actually sent us in error the type of document that they were applying for. It would seem that Phoenix Theaters, Northtown LLC, doing business as Phoenix Theaters, did not submit a D5J liquor license. It's a D5B. With that correction made, we can continue with our lives. Mayor McCann.
so I want to talk about that, and I think Mr. Uresti has covered all that, and we will work out to have Mrs. Weiner here next week to brief council and the community one more time. And other than that, Mr. Mack and I went over whole list of things, and he's gonna take it from here, sir, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Mack?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple things, as the mayor pointed out, that I'd like to make council aware of. The first of which is to drive home the annual Clean Up Your Parks Day that is this Saturday. So it'll be from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Dress for the weather, wear boots, bring gloves, and bring a friend. This year we have 400 t-shirts available on a first come, first served basis. The parks that we will have people meeting at are Bronson, Kingsbury, Riverside, Holgate, Laddies Grove, Eastside, Deal, Pontiac, the Fort Grounds, the Reservoir, and Riverside Cemetery. We have a lot of parks in this city. That's a good thing. But those are all the meeting spots. Lunch will be served at Deal Park at 11:30. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. Next, wanted to make the public and council aware that our spring bulk trash pickup will be coming up April 22nd from 8:30 to 11:30 in the morning as well. Dumpster locations provided by Whirler will be at Bronson, Eastside, Deal, Kingsbury, and Laddies Grove Parks. It's a couple weekends this coming month where we're getting stuff cleaned up in town. We like to see that. And then lastly, we will start our annual water flushing, or our spring water flushing, starting May 14th and run through May 23rd, and that'll take place across various areas of town as we're flushing our system. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you. Mr. O'Donnell isn't here this evening, but Ms. Sprague.
Yes, I'm not sure if you're aware, but April is Financial Literacy Month. Yesterday I ran out to NOCAC to present a proclamation, and Jamie Huber is here. We didn't quite connect yesterday, but I asked her to come tonight, or to give you a better explanation of what they do out there at NOCAC, amongst many of things. But go ahead if you want to fill them in.
Thank you for having me. I'm Jamie Huber. I'm the Director of Community Services at NOCAC. Yes, April is Financial Literacy Month, and I'm here on behalf of them, to thank Mayor McCann for proclaiming the month for National Financial Literacy. A lot of people don't know NOCAC. We're community action. A lot of us, when you think of us, you think about Head Start, summer food, emergency services, utility assistance, rental assistance, but we actually have a financial opportunity center. We are located in Key Bank, and what we do there is we pair individuals with financial and employment coaches to co-create financial freedom plans. Coaches support individuals with tools and resources that allow them to navigate the complexities of increasing income, decreasing expenses, acquiring assets, and navigating career pathways. The Financial Empowerment Program is a continuum of services designed to support three core concepts: competence, confidence, and capacity. The program provides an incremental level of support and program resources based on interests and needs of the clients. Along with our financial coaching, we also do the free tax program. We are happy to have brought it back this year. As of now, we have completed about close to 500 tax returns, free of charge to our community members. We also have our Getting Ahead program. It's a 16-week course where individuals come in, they're on the lower end of the poverty. We aim to around 125% of the federal poverty guidelines for them. We can go up to 200%. They come in, and it's almost like a socioeconomic structured class where it's not just telling people what to do. We help them learn why they are in poverty, because poverty can be situational and generational. And we do see that a lot, the generational poverty. And we kind of help them break down those barriers and learn like the secret language of the classes. And when I say classes, I mean low, middle, wealthy. We also have a brand new program, which is the digital navigation program. And listening, everyone's talking about, the sirens and having everything. A lot of people don't have access to phones and internet, and it's, we all went digital when the pandemic hit, and we were all expected to know how to navigate this world. Well, as we realize, we really didn't know how to do this. So we're here and we're proud to have a digital navigator on staff that can help walk people through how to get on the internet, most things now for income supports, you have to go online and do it, or you, banking online, telemedicine online. When I worked at Mercy, I know a lot of people, when my chart came up, they didn't know how to use it and they'd call in and we're sitting there like, oh, okay, pull your phone out, let me see it, let me walk you through it. So we're really happy to bridge that digital divide and spread digital equity amongst the communities. And I'm just here to say thank you and just share what we do. I gave you a packet, it shows you what 2022 looked like. We did see 198 unduplicated individuals last year. We did run a car repair program, emergency car repair program, with some extra CARES money, and we were able to help about like 50 some people, I think. Yeah, so it was very, and supplies, costs, it's great, very, very high. Also I included in there our digital navigation, what we offer, and then there's a newspaper article in there from Northwest Signal from Brent Nixon.
My brother.
It's your brother? Oh yeah. Oh, he has a great story to share. So I have it in there. You guys can read through it. He was one of our participants in the Henry County, Fulton County Getting Ahead program. We do that. We rotate it. It's through the counties, and he was such an inspiring story of not wanting. He lost both of his legs, and he came to our program, and with that support he was able to make that call and get set up with prosthetics, and he walked at graduation to get his diploma. And that's what's so great about the Getting Ahead program too, is that this sometimes is the first graduation any of these individuals have ever had, and we're there to celebrate with them, and we hope that they continue on. It's kind of how we open up, we bring them in through there, we get them to financial coaching, we get them to digital navigation. While you're here, let us do your taxes. So, and all in all, our whole FOC, Financial Opportunity Center, we like to speak in acronyms at Community Action, if you didn't know that. It's really about helping individuals not need income supports. That's really what we're here to do. Instead of giving them fish, we are trying to teach them how to fish. And the more we increase and fund financial literacy, the more we can expect maybe people will need less support on our income support. So just want to thank you, and if you have any questions for me.
And the services that you provide are also mostly free.
Oh, it's all free.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, everything's free. So yeah, it's been very interesting. This is really a true, I've worked for a lot of nonprofits, and this one is a true nonprofit. Like, you really have to, if that money's not there, you can't pay salaries, you can't pay the internet, you can't pay your office supplies. So it really is being really frugal with our expenses and providing the best programs for our community members to see it make an impact.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
NOCAC has been very helpful to us. Obviously, this is important here, but the different times we've had flare-ups at Northtown Estates, they've stepped in and helped from the housing side. They helped us during the closure of the Clinton Street Bridge, now the Purple Heart Bridge, with the Bridge Ride program to aid pedestrians back and forth across. So there's a whole lot they do, and we're very appreciative of all that, Jamie, and with Angie's leadership and all you folks out there. It's big, and we appreciate it.
And anything else?
Yes, I'd like to request executive session to consider the employment of a public official, Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1.
And we have a request for an executive session this evening. Motion? Second. Mr. Mast? All those in favor of a,
Mr. Engel,
Yes.
Mr. Corbin,
Yes.
Mr. Hancock.
Yes.
Mr. Rusty.
Yes.
Mr. Mass.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler,
Yes.
and Mrs. Crutch.
Yes.
after legislation, before we take off, we have an executive session. Anything else, Ms. Bright?
Just one purchase order, PO number 2023-00885, for hydrant parts, $15,302.80, and that's all I have.
Thank you. With that, we have 3 items of legislation up for consideration this evening.
First reading by caption only, an ordinance designating the city administrator as the signature authority for all contracts and agreements with the United States Department of Agriculture.
Mr. Mack.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So the city owns approximately 140 acres of farmable ground. USDA requires a named representative and signatory to share data regarding soil conditions, yields, and other details about the farmland that the city owns with the city. So that means someone has to be on the sheet to sign off to say it's okay when we request information about the farm ground that we own, the historic data on it. We've run into this issue with a couple of the wetland projects and things like that we've worked on. So this ordinance authorizes the city administrator as director of the Department of Service and Safety to be that representative to sign off to be able to pull that historic data back.
Mr. Hancock.
I know normally we have, I believe, a 3 or 5 year contract of, with a local farmer to do that. Will that include this, or is this separate from that?
This is separate from that. This is getting me as the signatory just to request the information that we need from USDA, Farm Service Agency, National Resources, any of those organizations. You have to have someone sign off and say it's okay that we request our own information. So that's what this is for. Any of the farm contracts would end up coming through you.
Mr. Mass?
No further questions. Motion to suspend call.
With no further questions, motion. Second, Mr. Waxler.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Rusty?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
And Mr. Engel?
Yes. Motion adopted.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Engel.
Second.
Second, Mrs. Crutch.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Rusty?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
And Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
With that, this ordinance is adopted.
First reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing a contract for shelter house and sidewalk improvements at Kingsbury Park and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Mack.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Lisa's going to pull up the document, or the map. What you see there is the area in black. This contract will allow us to proceed with getting the cement poured, getting those meandering sidewalks that we've discussed with the Kingsbury project, getting the pads put in place for the new new shelter house pads, getting them put in place for new trash receptacles, benches, and grills. So that is for $111,932 with fencing contracting.
How much of that is granted money? How much of that is granted money?
Granted money, I'm not totally certain what the percentage is for this one.
I can check, Steve. I'll check and get back to you. I don't know. I don't want to say either and be wrong, but.
Mr. Resty.
No further questions, motion to suspend and call?
We have a motion to suspend and call. Mr. Resty. Second, Mr. Corbett.
Mr. Rusty?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
And Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt, Mrs. Crutch. Second, Mr. Mast.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
Mr. Waxler?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
And Mr. Rusty?
Yes.
With that, this ordinance is adopted.
First reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing law director to execute the participant agreement for a settlement with Teva Pharmaceuticals, Allergan, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart, and declare an emergency.
Ms. Sprague.
In page 96 of your budget book, there is already an opioid settlement fund already established. And so what will happen is, since that's already established, if we would receive any money from any settlement, that would just go in there. It's very specific on what you can use the funds for. I know, Ryan, you gave me a few examples. Narcan.
Services related to the
To the-
opioid crisis.
Yes, yes. So,
And I know there were multiple, there was a And Mayor, did you attend were you a part of the group that was
Yes.
deciding what the
Yep.
regional funds were going to be for and so
Still
on?
deciding, a lot of discussion and a lot of government subdivisions, townships, counties, multiple counties, Henry, Fulton, Williams, I believe. Thought they had a solution to the problem or solution to what to do with the money, then that, now you can't do that, so
It's a very strict process.
working on Plan B, it could even be Plan C, Mr. Mack.
Mr. Waxler?
No further question, most spending call.
Second.
Motion to suspend and call Mr. Waxler, second, Mr. Rusty.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Rusty?
Yes.
And Mr. Mass?
Yes. Motion adopted.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Engel. Second, Mr. Mast.
Mrs. Crutch?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Hancock?
Yes.
Mr. Rusty?
Yes.
Mr. Mass?
Yes.
And Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
With that, this ordinance is also adopted. Do we have any citizens' concerns that we may have received before we enter executive session? Without any?
Nothing?
We can